Hello again, it's Claire here from Adstock End Farm, back in lovely Lincolnshire on this absolutely perfect autumn day. The sun's out, the sky's blue, all this lovely autumn colour everywhere, and we brought some more apples along to give to my friend Deirdre. And so we're going to talk a little bit about these 4 different types of apple, and one of them is Deirdre's favourite, I think, which we've called Haversham, after a 1953 shunting locomotive that lives at the Chinnor Princes Risborough Railway, where I found the apple as a seedling of another tree, and I took the seedling home and I nurtured it in a pot, and then when it was big enough I planted it out in the orchard, and it's now grown, and this year it fruited for the first time, and it gave us these perfect little fruits. Lovely red colour, lovely little bit of greeny russet on the top, just like a little bit of russet exploding out of the middle. Absolutely delightful little apple this. Very, very juicy. I think it will keep quite well actually. It's got a nice tough skin, but not too tough to bite through, but just enough to keep that juice in, so when you bite into it, it just sort of explodes in this lovely sweet juiciness in your mouth. Lovely, lovely little apple. Its parent, the parent tree, is this one. And this is a Chinnor Loop West. So you can see that it looks kind of similar to its child, Haversham, but it's actually bigger, slightly thinner skinned, very, very juicy again. Actually makes a nice cider. It's very, very sweet. It has a good quantity of sugar in the juice, and a very, very pleasant dessert apple too. I've not tried cooking with it, but I imagine it would be very nice in some kind of maybe an apple tart or an apple flan, where you don't really need to put any sugar with it. So we can see that that's the parent apple and the child apple. They're very similar, but this one's come out a little bit smaller. And then at the other end of the loop at Chinnor, and when we talk about loop, it's a passing loop or a run-round loop for trains in Chinnor Yard. At the other end of the loop, the eastern end, we've got a tree which we call Chinnor Loop East. And Chinnor Loop East, similar to Chinnor Loop West, but we can see that the skin is a sort of a matte finish to it. It's not shiny, it's a little larger. The skin is slightly sandpaperish, it's quite sort of russeted and rough. And again, this is a lovely, sweet, juicy fruit, but it ripens slightly later than Chinnor Loop West and Haversham. So these will probably be at their best in a couple of weeks' time. So keep them in the fruit bowl, Deirdre, and let them mature. But they're really lovely. They've got this lovely big eye, reminiscent of a Blenheim orange or a Orléans Renette, but it is actually a seedling. It grew up from a seed all by itself. And one of the characteristics that some of the fruits show are these sort of suture lines down the side. I think they're also called hairlines. This one is russeted. Some apples do that, and this is one of them. And then out of Oxfordshire and into neighbouring Buckinghamshire, down towards Great Missenden, we have the Mary Morgan. And the Mary Morgan, like the Chinnor Loop East, has this very big eye to it, again reminiscent of a Blenheim orange, but this lovely, bright, carmine pink, waxy, shiny skin to it, covered with these little sort of pimples, you might say. They're little protuberances that are russeted on the ends. They're not any kind of damage or insect damage or anything like that. This tree has just sort of got this funny, almost warty skin to it, but underneath it's just apple flesh. Doesn't detract from the quality of the apple. But a lovely big apple. You can cook with it. It makes a lovely cooking fruit. If you cut it into smaller pieces, you can eat it very happily. Thin apple slices, very, very lovely. And it's such a lovely colour with the contrasting bright greeny yellow and the sort of carmine pink skin. Here's one that's showing more of the stripes and the spots and the effect that it has. But beautiful colour to it, just, you know, very pretty. Good in the fruit bowl and great in a pie. So we have a number of these with us today. So these three are from Chinnor in Oxfordshire, and this is from Great Missenden in Buckinghamshire, and all grown at Adstock End Farm without any chemicals or artificial fertilisers, just naturally as they come. So I'm here in sunny Lincolnshire on this lovely October afternoon. I can see Boston Stump behind Deirdre in the far distance. Can't believe we're that close to Boston, and it is so rural here. We're just surrounded by fields. We've been watching the farmer doing the rolling and the harrowing in the field behind us. We've been talking to the cows in the next field. Been watching the swans going up and down. Is it the Catchwater Drain? That's what it was called? Well, that's what this is called behind me. Runs under the bridge and away, and you can't see it, but down the other end there is the farm where Deirdre's grandmother used to live, and just behind the cars here is Swanholm, which is Deirdre's cousin Barry's bungalow. Been there since the 60s, and we've been looking around his garden and his collection of trees and his blackcurrants, which are still doing well. They've all fruited by now. But it's a lovely Lincolnshire afternoon, and we've been talking about apples.
Thank you very much, Claire. Really enjoyed this afternoon.
You're very welcome. It's been marvellous, and let's not forget the fish and chips, which were absolutely cracking.
They were. They're always good from Stickney.
Brilliant.